So, a question that comes up a lot with newer colleagues or younger colleagues has to do with the relationship between advisor and advisee, whether or not it's appropriate to counsel them. So, this is like as a psychology professor, I often get students who come in and want to talk about depression or anxiety, sometimes suicidal ideations. And so, I suspect non psychology professors get this too. You've already lowered the bar, or rather, you've broken down the barrier of student faculty, and you are seen as this expert. But are you an expert in psychiatry or psychotherapeutic treatment? That's a question that you'll have to answer yourself. So, whether it's ethical for you to counsel your students in that capacity, as a psychology professor, I do not think that it's ethical for me to do that since I don't have certification to do so. Not that I would want to. And so that comes with some of my own opinions about psychology and psychotherapy, which I've gone into in my books, which you're welcome to look at. And perhaps if I get a question about it, I'll make a video about that as well. But remember, the job of the advisor is to act as a consultant for students about their courses. Once you start getting into personal problems, I found it easiest and most effective, I would also suspect, to encourage students to go to the counseling center. If you have a therapist on staff, I've walked students there frequently. I'm very clear that that's not my role and it's not something I've been trained to do. I'm not certified to do it, but I'm happy to walk you down and get that started for you, or put you in touch with a therapist or someone at the university that specializes in the problem that you've just described. So, in terms of psychiatric or personal issues, that's the route I generally take. Now, I've had psychology colleagues before say that they'll counsel for 30 minutes or like 1 hour and then they're cut off. And these are usually faculty that also do therapy on the side, or maybe therapy full time and teach on the side. And so they actually see that the relationship between those two jobs a little bit more, or as a little bit more appropriate. And so they don't feel like it's unethical to give therapeutic advice. But that to me seems like an awful lot of work that you're not being paid for. So, what type of counseling can you offer? Well, part of the faculty-student relationship isn't just about getting grades and getting a degree and leveraging that degree for a career. It's also about having I think it's about having a good quality of life. And so students choose their major or their career based on metrics generally, like how much money they'll make, how likely they are to get a job. But when they're in the midst of taking the courses, they might learn that, oh, I really liked this elective that I took. I really enjoyed that. What sort of career options are there? When will they have an opportunity to ask that question? Well, possibly in the class that they've taken or that they've enjoyed, meet with those faculty, but also when they're speaking with their advisor. So I see that you've failed statistics 3 times. Maybe a career in accounting isn't going to be a strong one for you. Do you want to change that up at all? And so you're having a question about their career path. But again, you're doing so as a non-expert. And so you're not giving them advice per se. You're saying what's worked, what hasn't worked. If something hasn't worked, what can you do to improve that? And sometimes even you don't seem very happy. You don't seem very excited about this. What is it that drew you to college in the first place? And how can you build back on that? I had one student who was going to double major, not have a minor, but double major, which meant like an extra 30 credits or a full year, possibly more, depending on how many credits she took, in order to double major in, I think, criminal justice and psychology. And so she was seeing me as a psychology student, and I asked her, like, why do you want to do that? And she just wanted to keep her options open. And so I said, well, which job seems the best to you? or which career path seems most exciting to you. So we talked about options for psychology degree, options for criminal justice degree, how they would support each other if you did a minor in one and then a major in the other. And nothing really inspired her. She seemed pretty bored by all of it. Like she was answering questions the way that she ought to answer questions. There was no vigor behind it. There was no life behind it. So I asked her, this was a judgment call. I said, "Are you interested in any of this?" And she was like, "I should be. I'm supposed to be." I said, "But what do you want to do? Like, what really excites you?" And she said, "Hairstyling." I said, "Oh, like that's very different than getting like a professional degree, or rather than getting an academic degree and leveraging that for a nice paying career. What experience do you have hairstyling?" And we had a conversation about that and what she was really passionate about. And I didn't say, "All right, why don't you drop out of school and like pursue hairstyling?" And that may be an option for some people. But when she thought about career trajectory and first year income and like or amount that will grow over the years, she decided that it wouldn't be the most prudent decision, but that didn't mean that she would have to rule it out completely. How could she find room in her schedule to let her develop that skill while also developing these other skills in areas of academic interest? And so she decided to not double major. She would do a major and a minor and take overlapping courses together, yet also pursue this passion. And so instead of taking the extra year, she was able to wrap that extra year into pursuing her passion together. And so she was able to do all of them together. I'm not sure how that ended up working out for her, but I thought it was really neat. I feel like I was a catalyst in that process without telling her what to do. And so I just asked her questions and then helped her solve problems through it. I'm very careful not to give specific advice outside of here's the next course that you're slated to take, or here's the next course that you're slated to take.